Departing the refugee center, Till re-embarked his transport. Deciding to take the longest voyage he could back to the station, he needed as much time as possible to process everything. Keeping the transport low in case it succumbed to the earlier damage, Till made his way back to the battlefield. The scarred remains made him reflect on his own time with the Galactic Alliance. By the time day turned to night, the transport lurched to a stop in front of the station, smoking and hissing from being overworked. Till slowly made his way back to his desk, still deliberating his choices. In such times, he knew the GA could react in several ways, most of them not good. He contemplated saying nothing. Understanding that no action would only make it worse, Till began to draft his report. Emerging from the station several hours later, Till had one final task left to accomplish. Using the walk to rehearse his speech, he arrived at the nightly campfire, the entire town already waiting. Coming around the corner, Till could see Grant fanning their fear with his wild accusations, while Kisa did her best to keep everyone calm. "I've never seen anything like this. It was just explosions from the salvage mission. There's nothing to worry about. It's a sign from the Almighty. This planet is doomed. I saw the lights. No, I was blinded," the crowd shouted. "Quiet, calm down, everyone. Quiet down," Till shouted, waiting until he had everyone's attention. "Now I've made a full report and sent all relevant files to the GA. There's no need to worry. We are not under attack, nor are we in any current danger," Liaison Till announced. The crowd returned to a cacophony of shouts and accusations. "Tell us who is responsible for this, Liaison. There's no doubt it was that wild human. We have a right to know." Till recognized Grant's slandering voice hidden within the mob. "It was nothing more than an out-of-hand squabble between children. There's nothing to fear. I can assure you the problem has been dealt with and those responsible are already being punished," Liaison Till said, gesturing to the GA tug pulling away from X-12. As the crowd tentatively dispersed, it was clear there was one who could not let it lie. Grant stood still, his shoulders broad, chest puffed, hands on his hips and gut distended. Till watched the comical sight of the townsfolk swerving to avoid his bulk. Till knew the headmaster's addiction to arguing all too well. Shaking his head in defiance, Till walked as quickly as possible towards the sanctuary of his office, hoping to avoid any further discussion. "Liaison Till," Grant barked. "You must have more concern for the residents of this fine town. I'm sure you don't even know." "Can't this wait until tomorrow?" Till replied. "Don't you want to know?" the headmaster said, struggling to waddle after the liaison in his bizarre, elongated stride. "Don't you want to know?" Till came to a sudden stop, spinning around in the same instant. "Know what?" he snapped. "Well, for one, what the most dangerous thing on the planet is capable of. Have you ever heard of anything like this before?" the headmaster questioned with an inviting tone. Till gave no response. "Well, I've never heard of anything like this either. Luckily, my job has its perks." Grant let out a snort as he began the process of turning around. "Come along, Liaison, follow me," he said, waddling away one heavy step at a time. Till could not resist. Nurse Kisa stared deep into the fire as Till passed. She had the faintest smirk, knowing too well how much the liaison hated playing along with the headmaster's games. "She is amazing," Till thought. Back inside the refugee center, Grant sat down at his messy desk. The momentum created from him falling into his chair perfectly carried the old Travarian to the other side of the room. He had done this before. Kicking the computer at his feet, Grant chuckled as dust and smoke spat from the ancient tech. As the lights on the computer flickered on, a home screen loaded on Grant's oversized monitor. Punching in a series of commands, a search engine appeared on screen. The page itself was abnormally basic, but clearly a collective database of some kind. "No formal titles, just a blank search bar?" Till said. "What am I looking at?" "I was told it's a database for every recorded species and ability in existence," Grant replied. "I use this to price out my commission. The rarer the power or species, the more the GA pays, you know." "Do you hear yourself?" Till scolded. "I'm curious, do you ever recount the things you say back to yourself? This day will never end. I should have took the desk in accounting like my mom said." Till held on as best he could, rubbing his temples. "How is it you came by this database?" Unfazed by Till's judgment, Grant happily continued. It was passed on to me by one of the elders after settling here. Thinking about it, I can't seem to remember his name. While Headmaster Grant pondered the name of whoever gave him access to this database, Till knew exactly why a list of every power and ability would come in handy. Why don't I have access to something like this? Till wondered. These elders, the ones that gave you this, did they also build the refugee center? Till asked. Certainly, Grant answered. It did not matter our circumstances, the elders were capable of many great things. Even now they protect us as we use their devices to solve this mystery. I wouldn't say they're protecting us, Till joked. Look at what's happened over the last couple of weeks. Oh, don't worry, Grant assured. The elders left behind more than just a nice building and a computer database. Till glared at Grant with an incriminating eye. He had always known the headmaster had secrets. Never did he think these secrets could be dangerous. So, you just type in the basic description of the abilities we are seeing, and this should give us some idea of what we're dealing with, Grant said, elegantly placing his hands upon his keyboard. So, what are we dealing with? He added, turning to Till for answers. That's the thing, Till replied. I don't really know. The headmaster and liaison sat in silence for a moment, not sure of how to proceed. Why haven't you used this before, or at least told me about it? Till asked. Well, you said it yourself, Grant replied. We didn't really know what we were dealing with until now. Till glared at Grant, but for the sake of moving forward, calmed himself. Truly still in disbelief about the day's events, Till went to the only thing he could trust, the data. Using his AAD, Till pulled up the DSS recording, playing it over and over from just before he arrived at the scene. After what seemed like the 100th review, something finally caught his eye. Zooming in, Liaison Till had it. Arrow is absorbing the energy from Hanzo's attacks. That's it. He can absorb energy, and he must have absorbed too much, causing the explosion. I remember something similar happening the previous time. Energy is drawn to him? Till was astonished by the discovery. Grant silently stared, confused, yet still happily sharing in the moment of eureka. Who could forget that day? Nurse Kisa added from the back in a worrisome tone. Liaison Till and Headmaster Grant both shrieked in harmonizing high-pitched screams. Can we help you, Nurse Kisa? Headmaster Grant said, attempting to recover from the embarrassing scare. I figured since you were getting answers and I'm Arrow's main physician that I should know what's going on. Got a problem with that? The headmaster grumbled for a moment, but ultimately had no objections. Till sat in awe, mouth open and in shock from Kisa's sudden appearance. Ding! The headmaster's computer sang, interrupting the awkward silence. Oh, it looks like it's found something, Grant said, turning his chair back towards the screen. Before Kisa had silently slithered in, Grant's computer heard Till's revelation. With enough keywords provided, the program was able to produce a single match. Double-clicking the file, the screen glitched for a moment. When it returned, a loading screen appeared, with a red wood background and metallic rune borders. Does it normally do that? Till asked. Grant responded with an unknowing shrug. An odd tension filled the room as the three of them held their breath, each focusing on the spinning icon in the center of the screen. When the file loaded, it was filled with redacted information. Before they even knew what they were really looking at, the screen glitched again, going blank before a red error window flooded the screen. No! What happened? Did anyone see what it said? Grant became hysterical. What's going on? What is this? He shouted, turning to Till and Kisa. Till stared at the screen and then back at the headmaster, then back at the screen. This is your computer! You mean to tell me you don't know what's going on? He said after a pause. They sat speechless as the red flashing light from the error window blanketed their faces. Their attention was drawn back to the screen when it shifted, the red flashing alarm screen replaced by a simple message in big, bold letters. Your inquiry has been sent to headquarters. Thank you. Baffled, the room was still silent, and for good reason. You said an elder gave you access to this. How sure are you they were part of the GA? Till tentatively questioned. No, blast, what was his name? Anyway, he was well liked and had been aboard since our last stop, before crashing here, and left not long after, Headmaster Grant said, slowing his words as he realized what he was saying. Well, I'd say that's enough for today, Till said, standing up and moving towards the door of the headmaster's cramped, putrid office. Wait, Kisa protested, slithering out of her chair to grab the liaison by his hand. Till's body froze as his heart skipped a beat at her soft touch. You're injured. At least let me take care of the bleeding, Kisa said softly. Oh, Till replied, lost for words as he stared at Kisa's hand holding his. The moment of silence was consuming and to them felt as if it lasted ages. Trying to pull his hand away, Till began to sweat, panicking as if he had glimpsed their entire future through her touch. The headmaster chuffed, snapping Till back to reality. Unsure of what to do and catching Grant's judging eye, Till acted as any romantically embarrassed man would. That's okay. I should really get going. It's already late and I have a big hole to fill, Till replied, glaring at Headmaster Grant while gently pulling his hand away. Kisa could not help herself. You sure do, she said with a wink. Till blushed so intensely that he shed his skin. Grant and Kisa did their best to contain their laughter at the sight. The liaison attempted to reassure them both that the second he heard something he would let them know, but his words were muffled by the opaque, sagging version of his likeness. When no one responded, Till knew it was time to go and turned to leave without another word, his loose layer of skin swishing as he walked. Goodbye, Kisa lightly said, doing everything she could to not laugh. Goodbye, Headmaster Grant followed in a mimicking tone. Back at the station, tending to his wounds, Till was still plagued by the thought of everything. His mind raced, causing him to mull over each detail from today and comparing them to the video from Arrow's first event. Throwing in the heavily redacted file on Grant's strange database, he knew they had stumbled upon something. Arrow's power was too rare to be left unprotected. It all adds up. I didn't see any descriptive titles, but I saw the power level. With those abilities, no, it couldn't be. That would be impossible. And who at what headquarters is leaving database programs with someone like Grant? Till thought. His endless pondering was only interrupted by the flashing notification on one of the smaller screens at his desk. Ah, good. They've received my report. I'm sure it won't be long before I receive a response telling me to put Arrow on the next cruiser headed for the Corps. No, I bet they'll send a program director to recruit him to one of the junior cadet programs or prep schools. I'm sure things will move smoothly. He may even get to leave the planet sooner than expected. Yeah, this is good. Everything is good. I hope. Days passed, yet Till received nothing after the series of chaotic events. He knew if news of a near-planet-shattering fight between a megadet and a civilian received no attention, then something was wrong. It meant the Shadow was on the move. Either way, the ominous feeling created by no response was unsettling. When the next cruiser came and went, Till sat outside the next morning, watching as it crept further from X-12. Left to toil under his own imagination, he became restless. While the rest of the town removed the decorations celebrating the cruiser's arrival, Till did as he always did, reset the alarms associated with power and abilities to their normal standings. The main row of vendors closest to the market would later say they thought the GA had left someone behind. It was hard to ignore a pale gentleman dressed like a macabre showman, sporting a heavy coat with an abnormally large collar. No one complained, as any customer is a good customer, or so they thought. With his mind consumed, it wasn't until later that Till finalized his recalibrations. The moment he accepted the update, an alarm went off. No, did I make a mistake somewhere? Till returned to his desk, reviewing his newly inputted parameters. Okay, it's not the code. Looking towards the surveillance screens, Till got his answer. The macabre showman was more than just an enthusiastic shopper looking for post-rush prices. Who is that guy? A scalper? He's almost twice my score on the AP scale. Tough to judge the appropriate show of force, but it isn't every day someone strong shows up unannounced. No way there are scalpers already here. Whoever tipped this guy off must be good. Damn scalpers, looking to sell Arrow to the GA, or worse. I wonder if he's from a prep school. Reviewing the DSS, Till found the point in the day's relay where the extravagant stranger arrived on world. What's going on here? Why is the relay starting by the big tree? In the next moment, Till saw something he had never hoped to see again. A being forming from darkness and the spare bits of life it could possess until constructing its figure. No, they're here. Till watched as the rising amalgamation of bugs and critters took the shape of the gallivanting showman. The devilish intruder inspected the area of Arrow's explosion before making its way into town. Computer, scan for any other anomalies on world and off, Till commanded the station's AI. When the scan returned nothing, confirming that the gallivanting showman was alone, Till knew something was off. Syncing his wrist device, he made his way to intercept. Till knew the town would have already received warning of the powerful stranger and reacted accordingly. Rounding the corner to the market center, Till hesitated. Even through his nano-helmet, he could smell the foulness in the air. Reaching the market center, Till located the powerful intruder, who was in the middle of lifting a closed window cover of the fried lizard kebab stand.
Hello, hello. Anyone home? Are you open, closed, or am I alone? Hello,
the macabre showman sung. You there, let go of that. The market is closed, Till shouted.
Oh, really? What an interesting contemplation. Open a moment ago, now a confusing situation. You see, we've done our job. We found the tree, and now we are very hungry.
My name is Liaison Till, appointed here by the Galactic Alliance. We can provide food in a moment. First, tell me your name and why you are here.
We are Herald, if you must know, and we decide where to perform this realm's greatest show,
the herald said, moving around the market like an animal following an intriguing smell. Oh, really? And what kind of show is that? Till wasn't buying it. Every instinct within him knew the truth.
Oh, you don't find us worthy, but our show is the last show there will ever be. The greatest show is coming soon, you can bet, one of magic, majesty, and malcontent.
Before Till could respond, the headmaster bulged his way out from a narrow alley on the opposite side of the market, blocking the herald's path. The timing and confidence of Grant's entrance, as well as the amount of sweat dripping from his brow, could only mean he was stuffed back there for some time.
Listen here, Herald, or whatever your name is, Grant protested. We aren't selling, and we sure as hell aren't buying. Why don't you run along and find another place to put on your show? Ah, more resistance. Surely a mistake, for in this instance we have sealed your fate.
Smelling the air, something sinister bulged and squirmed within the herald. It was clear that many species crawling around inside him sensed something. Standing tall, the herald scanned over Grant as if he were searching for something and spotted a clue.
All right, that's it, Grant shouted. I draw the line at ominous threats, especially when they're terribly rhymed. Now, if you would please leave. Oh, but we are so very hungry. Don't send us away. We would like to stay a while. We would like to play,
the herald said, not moving or blinking, just staring towards the refugee center. At the continued nuisance, Grant pulled an antique full-auto explosive projectile-based weapon of Earth. Why don't you look right here? I've got something for you to feast on. Where the hell did he get that? Till thought as he made his way to Grant's side.
It is too late. Your fates are sealed, for we sense our audience and we sense our meal.
Before any further escalation, it seemed that whatever was contained within the herald was ready to come out.
We are so very hungry,
the herald said, as his pale skin tore from the inside. Every bug and critter known to X-12 came bursting out of the herald as his gargled laughter echoed through the market. The many things that made up his body scurried to freedom. When the herald finally vanished, the market itself seemed to sigh with relief. First to appear from hiding was Kisa, slithering down from the rooftops, using several canopies to gently guide her way to the ground. She happened to be carrying an abnormally large energy rifle, modified with several illegal attachments, a memento from her past with the GA. All right, everybody, you can come out now, Kisa announced. Till knew the shadow had never plagued the planet X-12 before, but to see the town prepared for battle was a sight of its own. At Kisa's word, every stall in the immediate area opened, revealing the barrels of countless projectile weapons pointing where the herald last stood. One by one, those who referred to the town of Resupply as home came forth. Everyone, even the few kids, was armed. Till watched with an open mouth as the townspeople holstered their weapons. And they know how to use them. Is this Grant's doing? I've always thought I should go through some kind of training with the locals. Never would I have thought Grant already had. Headmaster, a word? Till said, ushering Grant down the street leading from the market towards the station. Till masked his anger until they were far enough away from the others.
What the fuck was that? How are we supposed to keep order when you consistently undermine my authority? You know I had that situation handled. And where did you get an old Earth firearm? You know they're illegal, right?
Grant smiled.
Oh, Till, I've dealt with my fair share of scalpers looking to make a quick buck. I don't think we need to worry about that long-collared fellow. Besides, as you can see, the town is perfectly capable of taking care of itself.
Classic Grant, only worried about his commission.
I don't hear you complaining after a full belly every morning and night,
Grant said with a chuckle, adjusting his belt and pants at the jest. You had no idea what we were dealing with, and yet you operated on your own. Till stopped talking, afraid he might lose his cool.
My dear Liaison, I was already here when the alarm went out. I tucked into the shops with the others. We knew you would be along, so we waited for the right moment.
Till raised his voice, no longer able to contain himself.
That was not a scalper, and you know it. If you truly care about this town, you need to let me do my job.
At the raised voices, Kisa made her way over.
There are many who can use that ability. It doesn't mean he's with the shadow,
she reassured.
No way. The DSS showed that freak spawn from bugs in darkness. I know a bad guy when I see one, Kisa. I'm telling you, he'll be back. You're simply overreacting. Till, there has never been an attack, nor will there be. What reason does the shadow have to come here?
Ignoring the headmaster's lunacy, Till turned to stare in the direction of the refugee center, attempting to use his brain for more meaningful things. Why was the Herald fixated on that direction? What's over there? Then it clicked. Till took off without a word, running as fast as he could. Putting two and two together, Kisa transformed and ran after him. Kicking in the door to the conference room, everything settled at the side of Arrow, fast asleep next to the window. Calming down, both Till and Kisa went into the nurse's office to check on Rael and Ava.
Is something going on?
Ava asked as they entered. Kisa walked directly to the sink to wash her face and hands. Till raised a hand to pause Ava's questions until he and Kisa could catch their breath.
Awake, I see,
Kisa finally answered. Nothing to worry about, just some scalper in a big black coat causing a ruckus. Still under painkillers, Ava smiled, but couldn't lift more than her head off the table.
Nothing to worry about, huh?
She said, looking at Kisa's rifle leaning against the wall.
That's right. Nothing to worry about,
Kisa confirmed, staring only at Till.